So I always record the classes because that way if you can't be here for some reason, you can watch the lecture at home, and for the online students, because this class is for online students and face-to-face students. So if you have a laptop or tablet, we'll go ahead and work on that today. You can probably access this material on your phone though. We're going to take a look at the syllabus, and I think we'll take a look at the bookstore too and make sure we all have an idea of where to get our textbook. So we'll look at several places online. I'll just go to the Canvas homepage. If you haven't used Canvas before, you would sign in using your email password, and Canvas is found on the homepage at UW Green Bay, right here under DLE, Digital Learning Environment. So right there. In fact, since these syllabi are the same, I'll just grab the online syllabi. The only difference between the face-to-face class and the online class is that online students have to find some way to come to campus to get their quizzes proctored. So the directions are on this syllabus on when they can do that. That works nicely for you as well, though. If for some reason this doesn't work out on a quiz day, then you're able to take the quiz with the online students who will take it later today or 8 in the morning. So both classes are the same. Here's our textbook, The Heart of Mathematics. This is an ebook, although you are able to print portions of it if you'd like, or pay extra for a loose leaf copy. Let's take a look at finding your ebook. I have a link here. There's actually several places you can sign in to get this ebook. We'll get the course ID. We'll need that. So I'll copy that course ID, and instead of using this link, I'm going to use the one right on the home page just for Wiley, because that way if some of you have issues, you'll know there's more information available. So the Wiley Join the Class flyer is right here on the Canvas home page. There's detailed directions here, but basically you click on this link or the other link that I showed you and put in that course number 742454. 742454. So everybody, can you please enter this? Okay? This is a free 2-week trial, so you don't have to worry that you're going to have to cough up the big bucks right now, right? We have a free 2-week trial. In fact, if you did go and purchase the access code from the bookstore, hold off on putting that in. We want to give you that 2 weeks to make sure you feel like this is the class you want to be in. You know, if you hate it after a week, you don't want to be like, but I already spent $109 at the bookstore for this access code. So once you put in that access code, this is the course ID. The access code shows you paid. The course ID gets you into my class. Once you enter that in, you can set up an account. So please go ahead and do that. You should get this screen showing that you're in the right account. I'll just walk around and make sure everybody's in the correct account. If you're stuck, raise your hand if that's not coming up. I do want to point out also, if you're stuck, that Wiley has a great chat and help access on their home page before you have to even sign in anywhere. I don't see it on this page, but it's on their home page. So we'll look at that in a moment. Is anybody stuck? Raise your hand if you're stuck. Okay, I'll sign in too. I'll click on this like I am starting the process so you can see what happens. So I agree to the terms of service, and I have choices to buy. Do not click on the choices to buy. I wonder if they're remembering me because I haven't logged out. Do you see choices to buy though? You see 100. I think the first one is $90. So that would be the one to choose. But don't choose that today. Like I said, don't choose that today. All the way at the bottom, do you see a free access? That's the one for today, okay? So choose the free access. Maybe it shows that on the flyer. Grace period. Yep, choose that. Free 2 weeks. So once you create your account, then we'll be able to look at assignments together. So please go ahead and create an account if you don't have a Wiley account. In the future, when you log in, you just go to Wiley Plus. That's where I'm going to head right now. WileyPlus.com. And then you'll just choose login. But as I said, at WileyPlus.com, there's this customer support. So you don't have to be logged in if you're having troubles logging in, or sometimes it seems Wiley Plus seems to think you already have an account when you never saw it before. Did anybody have that situation today where you're trying to take the grace period and it says, no, you already have an account, and you're like, wait a minute, no, I don't? Okay, well, I'm glad that didn't happen today. But if something like that happens, choose the customer support, and they'll help you out. So in the future, once you have your account made, you can just choose login at WileyPlus.com. They still give you this confusing, well, which one are you supposed to be in? You're supposed to be in the right one, the Legacy of Wiley Plus. So I'll go to the student view here. So you should have this screen once you've created your account. So I'll just walk around and see if you're getting that. If you're not, please raise your hand. And you probably like, I don't want to. Yeah. So this is a situation where you can do remember my password, but it's not going to give you the free 14-day period, so maybe you don't want to. I would go to WileyPlus.com and choose that chat option or the help, contact us, and actually talk to them after class and see if you get that free 14 days. Okay. Anybody else have questions? You already have an account, but you don't have an account. So again, go to WileyPlus.com. Okay. And they might have a chat, so you can do that right now if you want to. That way you get the free 14-day thing. Okay. Anybody else getting that message that you already have an account and you don't already have an account? Okay. If you're getting that message that you already have an account and you don't already have an account, then I would go to WileyPlus.com and choose the contact us and talk to them about it so you can get that free 14-day access, okay? Because otherwise you can say, well, send me the password, you know, I forgot my password. But who wants to do that? Then you're not going to get 14 days free. So just start from the beginning and explain that to Wiley Plus. If you have any other situations where you're not able to log in, then see me after class and we'll talk about it, okay? Or online students, email me. So on this section, you can get any access to the textbook that you want in the ebook. You would choose the Read, Study, Practice. For example, next Wednesday, we're going to be on Chapter 2.1. So you'd pick Chapter 2, and the sections come after the chapter openers. So 2.1, we're looking at counting. How the pigeonhole principle leads to precision through estimation. If you like to print your material out and see it in that fashion, then you can choose the printer version and print that section. Now, if you remember when you first created your account, it gave you the option to purchase a loose leaf textbook. You could do that instead if you want. I think it was an extra $40 or something like that, maybe $45. So what you'll see here mostly are your assignments. So the assignments are due primarily Sunday nights. Your first assignment on Chapter 1 is actually one of the harder ones because it's not focused on an idea. It's really a kind of broad range of questions. But if you don't figure the questions out, we're happy to go over them together in class. So that's why they're due Sunday nights, because then by Friday you can take a look at this and we can answer questions that you have at the beginning of class. So let's take a look at just this question, for example. Suppose David Letterman and Paul Schaefer have the same amount of money in their pockets. how much must Dave give to Paul so that Paul would have $70 more than Dave? You probably have a different number here. It comes out different for everybody, most everybody. Dave must give Paul, and I'm just going to make up a number, say 50. And I've used 1 of 5 attempts. So I got that wrong, but I get some more chances. So that when you're working on your homework, if you're getting it wrong and you can't figure it out, before you use that last attempt, ask in class, Wednesday or Friday. Or online students, email me so I can answer in class Wednesday or Friday. We want you to get 100s. Anybody have any questions so far on this? Let's take a look at the bookstore's cost for the Wiley Plus. So that would be under students, bookstore, and we're looking at the Green Bay campus, so the Phoenix bookstore. We put in Math 100, Section 1. You can pick any of the sections that I teach. I believe the one I'm in right now is 2. And you see it's $109.25. So it is a little less expensive directly from Wiley Plus if you would prefer to use a credit card. I don't know if they take PayPal. The advantage of using your school bookstore is that it uses the SIS account. The other thing on the bookstore that you need to buy is a custom toolkit. So I was going to show you what that is. I'll show you on the document camera. So these are shapes that you'll be making. This is a platonic solid, and it's constructed out of straws and chenille sticks, otherwise known as pipe cleaners. So the $4 kit that you buy at the bookstore has straws and pipe cleaners. Of course, if you have your own straws and pipe cleaners, you don't need to buy that kit. Or if you want to go to Hobby Lobby and buy a whole bunch. I think the straws, though, at the bookstore will be little skinny straws. You can use big fat straws if you kink this enough so that it holds better. We'll be looking at this more in Chapter 4, and we'll talk about it more then. So you don't have to buy this right away, this little kit. You can think about it. Does anyone have questions? Let's see, what else do we see? We're on the syllabus. Where was that? So the best way to reach me is from email, and watch for emails from me as well, especially online students. Watch for emails from me, please. You can see me right before class, or you can see me after class. Just let me know. We'll set up a time if this time doesn't work. I did want to read the course description to you. This is written by your author of your textbook. He puts out a syllabus that you can use as a basis, and I liked his wording, so I have it here. So in Math Appreciation, here we will consider some of the greatest ideas of humankind. Ideas comparable to the works of Shakespeare, Plato, and Michelangelo. The great ideas we will explore here are within the realm of mathematics. What is mathematics? Mathematics is an artistic endeavor which requires both imagination and creativity. In this course, we will experience what mathematics is all about by delving into some beautiful and intriguing issues. There are 3 basic goals for this course. 1, to attain a better understanding of some rich mathematical ideas. 2, to build sharper skills for analyzing life issues that transcend mathematics. 3, to develop a new perspective and outlook in the way you view the world. I'm right here now. The only prerequisites for this course are an open and curious mind and the willingness to put aside any preconceived prejudices or dislikes for mathematics. Very little mathematical background will be expected And hopefully this course should be, for the most part, self-contained. So in high school, you probably were learning a lot of algebra to prepare you for pre-calculus and then for calculus. For this class, you don't have to remember much of that at all. Any that you do need to remember, we will go over repeatedly. And then hopefully you'll have it down well for that little piece that you need. We're looking at different branches of mathematics than algebra. Any questions so far? Okay. So to do well, you should either come to class or watch the videos that I'll be posting on Canvas of our classes, or read your textbook. Somehow you need to learn the material, and those are the 3 different ways that you can do that. Online students can come to class too if you're near enough to drive to campus. Just email me and we'll set that up. And face-to-face students, sometimes you'll want to watch class from home if you're not feeling well, for example. So on this section of the syllabus, we have a schedule. The schedule is tentative because it's a guide, but it depends on how much questions you ask. We don't have to rush through anything in this class. If you have questions, make sure you ask so we can cover those. But you'll also see that you need to bring things for class. So Wednesday, when we're doing the pigeonhole principle, I'll need you to bring a ruler. Okay, so everybody put a ruler in your backpack, please. And also 1 million items. So make sure you do have 1 million items. Sometimes students bring things and I'm like, how do you know that's 1 million? And they're like, I don't know. Don't send me a picture of $1 million from the internet, okay? Bring 1 million things to class. Think small, all right? And you can use Google to help you make sure you have 1 million, at least 1 million. This would be a good time to take out your calendar. So if you use your calendar on your phone or whatever calendar you use, this would be a good time to take it out. So we'll put a few dates in there. First of all, it's a good idea to put in your calendar the homework dates. So homework is due Sunday nights, but you're not supposed to leave it till Sunday nights. You're supposed to work on it throughout the week, and that way you don't lose all the points because you didn't do any of it until Sunday night and you had a technical problem. So please put in your calendars Sunday nights a repeating reminder to check Wiley Plus, so you'll have homework there due Sunday nights, and Canvas. You'll have class activities due on Canvas on Sunday nights. So a repeating reminder for Sunday nights for Wiley Plus and Canvas. That way, if you've forgotten a section, you'll have a reminder to go check that out and finish it up. Also, if you have your calendar out, Wednesday, we can put our quizzes in there, all right? Okay, so I have a board on my office, and I put all my quiz dates there so I don't forget. Wednesday, February 19th. That's coming up fairly quickly, actually. And then, again, Wednesday, April 1st. So what do we have? We have February 19th. April 1st. And the last one is during the finals week. At the face-to-face class, it'll tell exactly what time that is on your face-to-face syllabus. This is the online syllabus, so this is when the online students are taking it. Okay, of course, again, all my students are welcome to come to any of the finals. It doesn't have to be the one assigned to their class because they're all the same. Well, they're all variations. And the last quiz that's during the finals period is not particularly harder than the other quizzes. It's just that we have that finals period, so we might as well use the finals period that we have. The first quiz is actually usually the hardest for students. At least that's the one they don't do as well on. So be studying extra hard these next few weeks, and I will always tell you what to study so that you can be prepared, okay? So if you study those things, then you should do well. And there are lots of students who do very well. Most of my students do well. So here's the times that the online students will be taking their quizzes. I'll have to send them emails about where the classes are because the registrar hasn't told me what classrooms I can use yet. You, of course, will be taking them here with me. And then if the online students can't make these times to campus, then they'll be finding a proctor. So during quizzes, if you leave, you're done. You can watch class lectures on video. What else do we need to look at? So here's why I say technical difficulties are not an excuse for late homework, and so please don't be working all the way up to Sunday night. Work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or some other days. Class activities are also usually due Sunday nights. And instead of excuses for late homework or late class activities, I just dropped 3. I don't take late class activities. Let's see, anything else? I think, well, the learning outcomes, you would need the learning outcomes if you transfer colleges. So when you go to another college and they want to know what you studied, so they know where to give you credit for this class, the learning outcomes are what the math department there would take a look at. Well, let's see what else is on the Canvas homepage. We have the syllabi. We have old class lectures in case you want to work ahead. Sometimes students go off for vacation for a week during the school year and want to work ahead and get that work out of the way so they don't have to watch internet videos while they're away on vacation and can just enjoy their vacation. So if that's the case, then you'll see these lectures for you to work ahead. There's the Wiley Plus instructions. We looked at that. I have this collapsed. Class activities are what I will assign almost each day. The first one we do today, Chapter 1, Dodgeball. So we'll be looking at that in a little while. There's a lot of these, so I'm going to collapse them again. Class activity materials, if you're ever watching class online from at home, then this is where you'd find the class activity materials. So online students today should print this little dodgeball scorecard out, and they'll be able to fill it in when we're working on dodgeball together later in class. So I'll collapse that. If you like to be a student who's thinking about the quizzes and preparing for those even before you get to them, this is a good place to go. These are tentative reviews. These should all say tentative, really. They'll be finalized a couple days before the actual quiz. But this tells you what you need to know for the quiz. So then you can come to class or do your homework or study with the quiz in mind. So the Chapter 2, you'll need to know about these different types of numbers in general, and then when you come to each section, it tells what do you need to know from that section to be prepared to do well on the quiz. We do go over these the class period before the quiz, but it's also nice to have them in mind if you're someone who's a little bit concerned about their grade. So when we look at the pigeonhole principle on Wednesday, you could write that in here and take a look at these mindscapes. You would look at the mindscapes in the actual read, study, practice portion. So in 2.1, if you go to the very end of 2.1, there's the mindscapes that I have in mind. Another type of book would call them exercises. So that's the review. Proctor guideline form if you can't come to class, if you're an online student, if you can't come to campus for the quizzes. How to study for a math class. This is an excellent study method here. Lots of ideas on how to study if that's a problem that you'd like to take a look at. I think this journaling to improve exam scores is fascinating, especially if you suffer from test anxiety. So this is a great way to look and see how others have found journaling improves their exam scores. In sections 4.7 and 7.2, we have a lot of supplemental material, so those have their own little modules. And here's the other supplemental material. Does anyone have questions so far? Okay. I have a question for you, and the question is, why study mathematics? Why study mathematics? We're going to spend a whole semester studying math. Why does the university have a math competency requirement? They don't have a social studies competency requirement. I don't believe they have a physical education competency requirement. Why a math competency requirement? Does anybody have any ideas? Yes?
You need to use it in your daily life to get by.
You need to use it in your daily life to get by. So even just playing a game, a lot of times you want to add up points, much less be making sure you know how to do your checkbook or taxes. So that's a good reason. Why else would we study mathematics? We have a whole semester of this. Why would we do this? Yes?
It helps problem solving skills.
It does help with your problem solving skills. So each section that we look at, your author will offer a life lesson to help see how the problem solving skills we use in that section can be translated into other areas of your life or studies. What are some other reasons to study mathematics? Is anybody studying any of the sciences or engineering in here? Any STEM courses? No, that would be a good place for it, wouldn't it? Yeah. I think that the university has these two ideas primarily in mind when they make a math competency requirement for people who aren't in the STEM fields, because I really think this does help in your everyday life. Well, one of the reasons that I've loved to study mathematics is because to me it points out the order and the logic that God built in the universe when he made it. So I'm a Christian, and when I study mathematics, I just see a beautiful elegance that points to a designer. To show you what I mean, I posted a few quotes on Canvas. So I love studying mathematics because here, this one says it really well. Does anyone know who Johann Kepler is? We have Kepler's laws of planetary motion. So Johann Kepler mapped the orbits of the planets and found that they are elliptical with the sun at a foci. And he said what I'm trying to say. We may behold how God, like a master builder, has laid the foundation of the world according to order and law. Now, a modern take on that will help as we study the ideas that we see in this class as well, because I wanted to point out how math comes about. So here we have laws of math. In 1960, the Princeton physicist and subsequent Nobel Prize winner Eugene Wigner raised a fundamental question. Why did the natural world always, so far as we know, obey laws of mathematics? As argued by scholars such as Philip Davis and Reuben Hirsch, mathematics exists independent of physical reality. It is the job of mathematicians to discover the realities of this separate world of mathematical laws and concepts. Physicists then put the mathematics to use according to the rules of prediction and confirmed observation of the scientific method. So when I was in calculus class, my calculus teacher used to say that mathematics was 100 years ahead of the sciences. The mathematics comes around and then the sciences follows in general. But modern mathematics generally is formulated before any natural observations are made. That's what my calculus teacher was saying. And many mathematical laws today have no known existing physical analogs. And then the author goes on to give some examples of how the mathematics comes, and then the physical world is found to follow those laws. So you can look at that further if you like. We're going to get into chapter 1, and before we do that, I'd like to make up a name placard. So I'm going to hand out some paper and markers, and we're going to make name placards. Let's see if I can make this small enough to show. Online students would do this too, because then these name placards will go in your photos for your class activities. So I found a way that folds up that last semester after semester in your backpack without being destroyed. So we'll go ahead and make it now. I'm going to hand out the markers and the paper, and we'll fold these in 4 the long way. Can you see that? Okay. Fold them in half, and then fold each half in half, and we will get a very durable placard that lasts and lasts. Okay, so online students, I'll put this up so that you know when we're done and you don't have to sit there staring at the screen waiting. You can fast forward. So you pick out the color paper you like. If you don't like the colors that are coming down your row, there's some more colors in the row behind you that you might like. And here comes the markers.
What would you really
Fold in 4 by folding in half and then in half again. Okay?
Sounds good. I'll stick with you.
You can use your own marker if you want to. In fact, you can decorate it with stickers if you have a sticker. I just have these. That way I know who I'm talking to. I always like to know who I'm talking to. So fold it in half, and then let the halves fold to meet each other. And you will keep that in your folder, please, and haul it out each class. First name is good, and then your last initial too, please. And you can put the name that you like to be referred to. Fold it in half and then in half again. Anybody want another piece? Anybody mess up their first one or want another one? Okay. Fold it in half and then in quarters. So we fold in half, and then in quarters, and then it's pretty durable. And yet can be collapsed. That's a good idea to send the box back. That was good thinking. Okay, so we are going to play dodgeball. If you're looking at chapter 1 in your textbook, you'll see all these different, what your author calls funny stories, but they actually turn out to be a reflection on a chapter that we're going to be doing later. So this one, dodgeball, you'll be happy to know does not involve running and throwing projectiles at each other. Okay, this dodgeball works with the scorecard. And it's actually going to give us insights into infinity. So we will look at dodgeball today, and then we will come back to it when we get to chapter 3. So here's how it goes. Player 1 makes a whole row of X's and O's, however they like. Okay, and you're going to be player 1 and you're going to be player 2, so listen closely, okay? So player 1 can make a whole row of X's and O's, however they like, and then player 2 puts either an X or an O. So player 2 only gets one box at a time. So I'm going to have you playing against each other, and you're going to play on the same sheet against each other. Then player 2 does a whole row, I'm sorry, player 1 does another whole row of X's and O's, and player 2 just does one box. And it just keeps going on like that. So player 1 does a whole row, player 2 does one box. Player 1 does a whole row, player 2 does one box. Whole row, one box, whole row, one box. Okay, then we have to have a winner. So we have player 1 playing against player 2. Who wins? Here's how it works. Player 1 wins if a row matches player 2's. Now, mind you, this is all going on one sheet, and you can see each other's work. Okay. Player 2 wins if there is no match. So that's why it's called dodgeball. Player 2 is trying to dodge a match. Okay. So who won here? Player 1 or player 2? Is there a match?
Yes.
Okay, row 2 matches. So player 1 wins. So player 1 wins if there's a matching row, and player 2 is trying to win, so the player 2 is trying to make sure there's no match. Now, you're playing this on the same sheet, and you're watching each other's work, so you have to be crafty. And I'm going to ask you to try for winning strategy. So I'm going to hand out enough for you to play repeatedly, so you each get a chance to play as player 1 and player 2, and hopefully enough more so that you feel like you have a winning strategy, okay? So online students, print off a copy of this, please, the score pad, and then we'll get together again after everybody tries it. So I'll just send some down each row. And what I usually do, I have the first row turn around and work with the second row, and the third row turn around and work with the fourth row. That usually leaves you two having to there is nobody behind you. All right. The first row, can you please turn your chairs around and work with the row behind you? And I'll be sending some down, so everybody will have a seat. There's somebody inside. So I'm going to first make sure you're all matched up. So there's some people who don't have someone to work with at this time. So you can get it back here. Oh, there's
We never did either. We just kept them, and then the teacher never
So
called on us.
can somebody from your group of 3 come up here? Oh, then work with here. Because one of you 3, can you come here now? Please. Okay, so you'll have someone to work with, and you do, and you do, and you do, and you do. And how about you 2 and you 2? Because otherwise it's just kind of a stretch. Okay, so one of you be player 1, and one of you be player 2 to start, and then you're going to switch. Okay. Remember, you're playing on the same piece of paper. So you play on the same piece of paper. Raise your hand if you're stuck.
Yeah, I know.
Play on the same board.
So we are paying.
One at a time. Yep. Watch this. Over and over.
We're supposed to have a random competition.
Right, yeah.
You want me to turn it around? I don't have this much creativity.
Anyway, to put down an extra hand. Oh, okay, I see. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to make
Oh, really? What are you in?
I'll show who wants to win again, okay, so you can see better. I always forget. Player 1 wins if a row matches, and player 2 wins if there's no match.
Do you want us to play another game?
Yes, please keep playing until you have a strategy and until both of you have a chance to be each player. Now, who won your first game?
Let's play it too.
Player 2. Now you're player 1. So hopefully you have the hang of it now. You can start thinking about, well, how to watch it. Don't worry about columns.
So they can go like anyway.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing that I really remember. That's why
I feel like you could have won it.
Okay, that's player 2. Once you play it a time or two, then you're like able to remember where you're trying to go.
I just don't think there's much on the monitor. I don't make sure. We'll play it one. I didn't win.
Will you play
Oh, I actually didn't know.
your strategy is not to match.
It's not easy.
Because this is about to their one wins one match. Oh my gosh. What else is going on?
One on your You want? Okay, will you play a 1 or play a 2? Yeah, because you got your strategy. And then player 1 wins. Once you play it out, and then if there's no match, I know that yours. Some on the back you can flip yours over and keep going so you get a complete strategy. Because pretty soon I'm going to ask who wins. So this is the way. I don't know how to say it. Right here, she's that's the idea.
Okay.
So they're trying to
There's no way to do it, I just.
How much?
We can do it. You want to do it the same way?
You make player 1.
Okay.
Use the whole roll.
Oh.
You don't want to.
I don't.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yes.
How about yours?
You good? Okay, working out.
Yeah.
I'll say there's a
Where's the
So
question?
you're trying to guess mine?
You're trying to get a mic.
Oh, yes.
Okay, my goal is
This is a quiz.
Okay.
Yeah, you could.
I was close, but they messed up there in the front and then handed it down.
I really don't.
You know what side? Well,
I think player one.
wait, you're not.
Who feels like you have a winning strategy? You starting to get a winning strategy, anybody? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to finish the quiz of the test here.
Okay, now I'm going to try and pit two people against each other, both of who feel like there's no way they can lose, okay? So player one wants a matching roll. So they make a whole roll, and they want player two to end up with having to pick that roll. Player two does not want to match. Okay, now, who thinks that they can always win as player one? Okay, so you feel like you can always win as player one? Okay, and your name's Aaron? Okay, good. Now, who feels like you can always win as player two? That seems at cross purposes. Oh, you feel like that? Okay, and you are Chauncey?
Yep.
Okay, so Chauncey and Aaron, will you be my player one, player two? You can just tell me what you want to put down if that's okay. Is that okay? All right, player.
I'll do player two.
You're going to do player one. Okay. Okay, Aaron, what will be your role?
X, O, X, X, O, O.
Okay. Very good. Chauncey, what are you going to pick?
Oh.
Okay.
O, X, O, O, X, X.
Okay, good. Chauncey?
Oh.
Okay.
O, 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 X, O, X.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. You want to be O?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just do all those.
All O's?
All right. X.
X. Okay.
O, 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 X, O, O.
Okay, so now you're watching down here, I see. Okay.
X.
X. Okay.
O, 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 X, X. X.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, so then you saw there that you didn't have a choice because if whatever you picked, he was going to pick the opposite, right? So thank you both for volunteering and helping out here. It turns out you can always win, but it's as player two. Because if player two is always on the ball, player two can always win. Because I noticed you started out here, whatever this one was, you did the opposite. So you paid attention to that, and then whatever this was, you did the opposite. Whatever this something happened here. That's where I was kind of like, uh-oh. Because if you just do the opposite of the diagonal one, then you're always going to be different by one box. Because you just have to be different from one box. So if you can always do the opposite on the diagonal, player two can always win. Now this is a strategy that's going to help us prove that there are in fact different sizes of infinity. So we'll be coming back and trying this out again in chapter 3. So if it went all kind of fast for you, you're like, I don't know. We'll spend some more time on chapter 3. This is also your class activity, so if you have a phone, can you please take it out and take a picture? This is where your placard comes in. Besides that, I like to know who you are. Put your placard in here. Either you or your name have to show up in all of your work. And then we'll go to... And then we go to... We go to Canvas. We go to class activities. You pick dodgeball. Okay, I cannot take the Apple default. The Apple default won't open for me on my PC, so it should be a JPEG or a Pong. I'll write that down. JPEG or Pong, please. Not the one that Apple does. And there's a setting for that they can help you at the IT desk to set, or maybe somebody in class can help you if that's what your Apple phone does. If you have any questions, see me after class. Otherwise, I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye now.